welcome to Live Interactive English. Hello everyone, I'm Karen.
And I am Mike, and we are back today with the Orient Express, Special Journeys to Amazing Places, Day 2.
That's right. So we learned a lot about it in Day 1 and when it started, the first journey, and how it got started, and even people made movies and films, TV shows about it, about the murder on the train, right? But we know that it's very expensive, luxurious, and it costs an arm and a leg, right?
It definitely costs you a lot. It is probably the same amount of money you would spend for 5 holidays all in one. I actually looked it up.
You did?
I've always been curious. I think a simple journey, a short journey, would be around 100,000 NT for one person for one night.
For one night?
One night.
That is crazy.
Basically like the most expensive hotel in the world.
Wait, you're talking about right now. This is the rate right now.
Yeah. And if you want to stay in a bigger room on the train, now we're talking around 330,000 NT for one person for one night.
That is too expensive.
It is very, I mean, I think there are a few hotels in the world more expensive than that, but not many. So this is a very, very, very special thing that I think some people really do. If they're fans of the mystery novel, A Murder on the Orient Express, or they just love the romance of old-style train journey, there are normal people like you and me who might save money almost their whole lives.
Just to stay there for one night.
This is a dream of theirs to do it. And of course, if you're really, really, really rich, well, you know, you have extra money, good for you. But yeah, it is not a typical train journey. And people don't take this because they're like, oh, I gotta get to Venice really fast. I'm gonna hop on the train. No, people do it just to be on the train.
It doesn't matter where you're going.
It doesn't matter where you're going. You're on the Orient Express. Life is good until you look at the bill. All right, so we're going to get to our article and find out what the Orient Express is like today, because it is still in operation, it's still running, but it's a little bit different from how it started when Georges Nagelmakers had his original idea. So let's check it out. How would we experience the Orient Express if we were lucky to ride it today?
The original Orient Express service is no longer in operation. However, its name and spirit live on in the Venice-Simplon Orient Express. Several routes run through Europe's most beautiful landscapes and allow modern travelers to enjoy a taste of timeless class on overnight journeys to cities like Amsterdam, Verona, and Prague. Another option is the La Dolce Vita Orient Express. This service crosses the Italian countryside. Stops along the way allow passengers to explore lovely towns or try local produce. However, a journey on the Orient Express is less about where you're going and more about how you get there. Authentic carriages from the 1920s provide wonderful Art Deco interiors to sleep, eat, and travel in.
All right, let's get into our article today. Of course, the Orient Express started in 1883. That is a long time ago. And I think it's safe to say that things have changed since 1883.
Definitely.
One of the big things, of course, is that more people have cars now, and we have these, airplanes that go much faster for much less money. So the whole idea of luxury train travel is not such a big thing, but the Orient Express has such magic and mystery, even just with the name, that they've kind of brought it back.
That's
which is
right.
very cool.
Let's get into today's article. The original Orient Express service is no longer in operation. That means they do not run it anymore.
Right.
That's the original.
That trip from Paris to Istanbul, they don't do that one anymore.
They don't do that anymore. It's no longer in operation. However, its name and spirit live on in the Venice-Simplon Orient Express. Oh, okay. So the name and spirit live on. That means they use the same idea, but that train is no longer in operation, but they still use the same idea to experience this type of journey.
Exactly right. Several routes, it says, run through Europe's most beautiful landscapes and allow modern travelers to enjoy a taste of timeless class on overnight journeys to cities like Amsterdam, Verona, and Prague. Okay, I think a lot of them still start in Paris. You can take a quick trip to Amsterdam, Verona in Italy, Prague in the Czech Republic. It's called the Venice Simplon, so maybe Paris to Venice as well might be another route. So basically the train goes a few different places, but you will always have that 5-star luxury sort of treatment, the great room, the beautiful decoration, the wonderful food, and of course a big part of it is just being on an overnight journey, sleeping on a train in that old way, which of course is pretty unusual these days. Overnight just means overnight from one day to another. If I ask someone if they want to stay overnight, I'm saying, do you want to stay at my place? You can sleep on the sofa, you don't have to go home or something like that. If you have an overnight trip to somewhere, often when we fly somewhere, oh, my plane leaves at 10 p.m. and we get there at 8 in the morning. That's an overnight flight. So basically, all through the night, when you might normally be at home or sleeping, you're doing something else. For example, I booked an overnight flight to Seoul because the price was low.
That's right. Usually overnight flights are pretty cheap because it's a really inconvenient time for people.
Exactly. People are usually sleeping.
That's right.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny， 今天要继续来看东方快车的后续发展。原本的东方快车服务已经停止营运，不过它的名字和精神透过威尼斯、新普伦东方快车延续了下来。那有好几条路线穿越了欧洲最美的风景，让现代旅客在前往阿姆斯特丹布拉格等等城市的过夜旅程中，还是可以享受到永恒不变的高雅品味。好，单字 overnight， 它是形容过夜的、一整夜的。文中它用到 a taste of timeless class 来表达永恒不变的高雅品味。Timeless 就是指不受时间影响的、历久弥新的，或者是永恒的。Class 在这边是指优雅、典雅或是高贵的风格。那这边要介绍的重点是 a taste of something。Taste 在这边它是指短暂的体验、经历或尝试，之后常常会接抽象名词来表达尝试体验某事物。例如 Julie got a taste of fame after her song went viral on social media。Julie 的歌在网络上疯传之后，她体验到成名的滋味。好，介华课文中。
Okay, now back to the article. Another option is the La Dolce Vita Orient Express. Okay, this is another type of train. This service crosses the Italian countryside, stops along the way, allow passengers to explore lovely towns or try local produce.
Wow.
Oh, okay, so that really sounds lovely as well, right?
Absolutely. La Dolce Vita, that kind of means the soft or the luxurious life in Italian. So again, you're not in a rush to get somewhere. It's the journey that you're really, really there to enjoy.
Exactly. So we're looking at this word here, option, and that is a noun. So an option is simply something you can choose, like a choice or a possibility. So for example, you can say the number of options on the menu made choosing just one dish difficult because you have too many options, too many great options to choose from.
Exactly right. So we've learned that the Orient Express goes to lots of different places, depending on which part of Europe you want to explore. However, the main idea is still there. However, a journey on the Orient Express is less about where you're going and more about how you get there. So it's about the luxury of the journey, sitting in that train, looking at the beautiful European countryside go by. Oh yes, I would love some champagne. Thank you very much. You know, eating all that great food. As it says, authentic carriages from the 1920s provide wonderful Art Deco interiors to sleep, eat, and travel in.
Wow.
Ooh, that sounds lovely, doesn't it? So these carriages, that's the train car that you're actually you're sitting in or sleeping in. They're authentic. So they're really from the 1920s. They've fixed them up. They've made them nice again, new paint, all that kind of stuff. And they provide wonderful Art Deco interiors to sleep, eat and travel in, and of course, enjoy yourself. Art Deco is a style of art. It's from the 1920s, and it's very kind of sleek and modern, so it will give you a nice old-fashioned feeling to it in a stylish way. And if something is authentic, it's real. It's from that time. It's not a fake. It's not a reproduction. It's not made to look like something old. It is something old. It is definitely old. It's an antique, or it's a relic, or it's something like that. For example, if the painting is authentic, it will be worth many millions of dollars. You can buy a poster of the Mona Lisa, but the authentic one is in a museum in Paris, and it's, very expensive.
另一个选择是甜蜜生活东方快车，这条路线穿越意大利乡间，沿途停靠的站就可以让乘客去探索迷人小镇，或是品尝当地的农产品。不过搭乘东方快车重点不是目的地，而是过程。来自1920年代正版道地的车厢，提供了美轮美奂的装饰艺术风格内装，这让乘客可以在上面休息、用餐和旅行。补充一下。Art Deco 它是指装饰艺术，是1920年代源自于法国的一种艺术风格，常常会以利落的几何对称图案来营造现代奢华感。Mike 老师这时候用到 sleek 这个形容词 ，S-L-E-E-K， sleek 可以形容线条流畅的或是时髦的、雅致的。课文单字 option 则表示选项、可供选择的事物。Authentic 是形容真正的、原汁原味的。Mike 老师在解释单字时，他就提到了是真品，而非复制品。那这时候用到 reproduction， 在 production 前面加上 re， 那这个名词可以表达复制品或是复制。还有提到 antique，A-N-T-I-Q-U-E， antique 表示古董、古物。还提到 relic。R-E-L-I-C relic 可以表达遗物或是遗迹。那这边有一个重点是 less about A and more about B， 表示与其说是 A， 倒不如说更偏向 B， 强调 B 相较于 A 是更重要的。另一个用法 more about B than about A， 意思类似，可是语气稍有不同。好，那我们来造个例句。We should care less about the past and more about the present. 我们应该多关心现在，少在意过去。好，接华课文中。
So now we know that we have many different options to choose from, but although we have different options, but I believe that they are still very expensive, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is not your normal train journey. This is more like sleeping in a fancy hotel.
That's right.
But you're paying for many nights, but just for one night in a fancy hotel, because the Orient Express is a fancy hotel on a train.
Although every car on the Orient Express is luxurious, l'Observatoire is extra opulent. By paying an arm and a leg, guests can stay in this private carriage. It comes complete with a double bed, marble bathroom, and library. After more than 140 years, the Orient Express remains a symbol of style and class. Though much has changed since 1883, the train hasn't lost its unique appeal. It still proves that the journey can be just as special as the destination.
Welcome back, everyone. So before the break, we were talking about the Orient Express, and we were saying how the original Orient Express is no longer in operation. The original one is no longer working or running. However, though, we do have different options nowadays that carry the same idea and style of trains, right?
Yeah, it won't go exactly where the old train used to go, but it goes actually more places now. And the important thing is you get the same experience. It says, although every car on the Orient Express is luxurious, l'Observatoire is extra opulent. So every car is luxurious. It is luxurious, meaning it's fancy. Yeah, there is no like third class, second class, first class. There's no standing room on the Orient Express. I just want to save money. Can I just stand here? No, you can't. It's all luxury. It's all first class. It's all expensive. But apparently if you have more millions than you need, l'Observatoire or l'Observatoire is extra opulent. Okay, well, I'm going to have to save more because I got to do that.
You want to try that, right? But everything is luxurious, though. What does it mean? So that's an adjective. Luxurious means something that is very comfortable, expensive, and very, very fancy. That costs a lot of money. So for example, you can say, he loves expensive things and always stays in luxurious hotels. So when you say luxurious hotels, you're talking about a 5-star hotel that has nice swimming pools, maybe like massages, or the beds are super comfortable. You get a jacuzzi in your room. Very, very luxurious.
All of that stuff. Give us an example of the luxury we might be experiencing in l'observatoire.
Okay, well, by paying an arm and a leg, when you use this expression, that just means it costs a lot of money, very, very expensive. By paying an arm and a leg, guests can stay in this private carriage. It comes complete with a double bed, marble bathroom, and library. You get a library in your room?
A library? Well, I guess you're on a train. You might have some time to kill. I hope they have more than just many copies of Murder on the Orient Express. A library filled with one book, because that's the one everyone wants to read. That's amazing. I've never heard of a library on a train, never mind a private library.
Exactly.
Just for one passenger.
Maybe like a private movie theater, but a private library?
That is absolutely nuts. The next thing they're going to have is a swimming pool on the train or something like that. So there you go. That sounds like the most luxurious thing in luxury land is this private train with your own library. Amazing.
课文提到，东方快车上每一节车厢都很豪华，不过观景台车厢更是极致奢华，乘客可以支付高昂的费用来入住这一节私人车厢，里面就备有一张双人床、大理石浴室和图书室。好，单字 luxurious 它是形容奢华的、豪华的。opulent 也可以形容它是外观奢华的、豪华的。Karen 老师这时候有提到 jacuzzi， 它就是表达按摩浴缸。那这边还有一个重点是 an arm and a leg， 它表示代价昂贵、价格不菲。这个用法字面意思是一手一脚，那常常会跟 cost、pay、charge 等等动词来连用，用来夸张的强调花很多钱、付出高昂的代价。例如Paul's new car cost him an arm and a leg. Paul 的新车花了他很多钱。接回课文中。
Okay, we are back. So after more than 140 years, that's right, way back to 1883, the Orient Express remains a symbol of style and class and expensive train travel. Though much has changed since 1883, the train hasn't lost its unique appeal. It still proves that the journey can be just as special as the destination.
That's true. When your train is that luxurious and that fancy, you don't really care about the destination, like where you're going.
Yeah,
right?
we would get to wherever, Prague, and I'd be like, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not going. You can't kick me off the train.
We paid so much for the train. We're not leaving the train.
But sir, this is Prague, one of the most beautiful cities in Europe. I don't care. I want my library. Because the appeal is so strong. When we talk about appeal, it's kind of like saying attraction. It's the thing that you like. It's the thing that makes you want to do it. It's the thing that makes you want to go there or buy that thing or spend that money or have that experience. Why are you going to blah, blah, blah? Oh, I really want to see this place or go to this thing or try this out or eat that food. That's the appeal. That is the thing that is attracting you, that is interesting you, that makes you want to go, do, or try something. For example, it is hard to see the appeal of waking up early on the weekend.
Exactly.
Why are you waking up early on the weekend? You don't have to.
To see the sunrise.
The sunrise is on Monday too when you have to get up for work. What's the appeal?
课文最后提到，经过140多年，东方快车依然是气派和品味的象征。虽然中间发生了许多变化，但这个列车并没有失去它独特的魅力。那单字 appeal 这个名词就表示魅力、吸引力。它的相关词性 appealing 则可以形容具有吸引力的或是迷人的。接着回到课文中。
All right, we have our what do you think question here. What do you think it would be like to travel on a train like the Orient Express?
Well, I think it would be just like how you describe it. It's like living in a 5-star hotel, but you are on the train and you never, ever want to get off.
I think that is very true. I think it might make me sad and it would ruin trains for the rest of my life.
That's true. You don't want to take any other trains in your life.
Fancy business class on the Gautier. But they don't have champagne and caviar.
So maybe we shouldn't try the Orient Express.
You might spoil yourself a little. But if I had the money, I would definitely do it.
Okay, so we're going to start saving right now.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Take care, everyone. We'll see you on the Orient Express, hopefully.
Okay, we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
The original Orient Express service is no longer in operation. However, its name and spirit live on in the Venice Simplon Orient Express. Several routes run through Europe's most beautiful landscapes and allow modern travelers to enjoy a taste of timeless class on overnight journeys to cities like Amsterdam, Verona, and Prague. Another option is the La Dolce Vita Orient Express. This service crosses the Italian countryside. Stops along the way allow passengers to explore lovely towns or try local produce. However, a journey on the Orient Express is less about where you're going and more about how you get there. Authentic carriages from the 1920s provide wonderful Art Deco interiors to sleep, eat, and travel in. Although every car on the Orient Express is luxurious, l'Observatoire is extra opulent. By paying an arm and a leg, guests can stay in this private carriage. It comes complete with a double bed, marble bathroom, and library. After more than 140 years, the Orient Express remains a symbol of style and class. Though much has changed since 1883, the train hasn't lost its unique appeal. It still proves that the journey can be just as special as the destination.
最后，我们来复习今天课文里的单字文法。单字的部分有第一个 overnight， 它是形容过夜的、一整夜的。第二个 option 名词，表示选项，可供选择的事物。第三个 authentic 形容真正的、原汁原味的。第四个 luxurious 它是形容奢华的、豪华的。第五个 appeal 当名词，表示魅力、吸引力。文法的部分，我们第一个学到 a taste of something， 这个 taste 在这边表示短暂的体验、经历、尝试，后面常常接抽象名词来表达尝试、体验某事物。第二个学到 less about A and more about B， 表示与其说是 A， 倒不如说更偏向 B， 强调 B 相较于 A 更重要。第三个学到 an arm and a leg， 它表示代价昂贵、价格不菲，常常跟 cost、pay、charge 等等的动词一起连用。好，那以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Ooh, this is fun.
Kiki, slow down.
Whee!
Kiki, stop. You're gonna...
Whoa.
You see, this is not for playing. This is exercise equipment.
Exercise equipment.
This is called an air walker. So it's not for playing, okay? So Kiki, I think it's time we teach you how to use the air walker.
Okay, well, since we have this exercise equipment here, Winnie, why don't you teach me how to use it?
Okay, yes. Well, this, let me first say, is the air walker, okay? So first, step one, okay? Put your hands on the bar. Okay, check. Now, step two, one by one, it's 1 foot at a time.
Okay.
Make sure you're balanced, you're ready. Then you put your other foot on there. And then 1 foot forward, 1 foot backward. Very good. So you'll notice this is really easy on your joints. It's a low impact form of, endurance cardio. So this is really good for your joints, your hips, and your core.
So it's really like I'm walking on air.
Yeah, there you go. It's air walker. You're actually exercising a lot of your balance muscles, the muscles that you need to balance. So yeah, that's pretty much how you use this machine properly.
And you actually have to keep them both moving. Okay, gosh. Whoa!
There you go. Well, we hope you enjoyed working out with us. Remember to give us a follow on Instagram and DM or email us if you have any questions about how to say something in English. Do you have anything else to say?
See you on the next episode.
Kiwi later.